And that term champion is who I want to introduce to our show today. He's a 4-division world champion, the current WBC and defending WBC bantamweight champion. One of the most amazing stats that I just read is he's the oldest bantamweight champion in the history of the sport. And he's also only one of 6 fighters ever to hold a world championship, to hold a world title in 3 different decades. I want to welcome my good friend Nonito Donaire to the show. Welcome, Nonito. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, man.
And, you know, I got to tell you, I know you better than most out there, but your energy, and every time I'm around you, Nonito, every time, every dinner we've had, every fight we've gone to, your energy is, number one, it's always so positive. Like, you have great spirit about you. But you also are a person that is constantly looking for self-improvement. But I want to start with this. When I say the word champion, you're a guaranteed first ballot Hall of Fame fighter. We all know that. But you're 39 now. You just defended the WBC title. You won it. The fight before that, I was there in LA. You just defended it. You knocked both guys out in the 4th round. Apparently you don't like going 5 rounds anymore. I don't know where that came from. But at 39 years old, what is it in the mindset of one of the best in the world to continue to keep going?
Purpose. You know, a man has to have a purpose. Sometimes, you know, through success, you know, as you know, back in 2012, I hit my peak. I was fight of the year. You know, I was known everywhere. I mean, I still am in the game. And then the few years has been up and down until you find that purpose of what you truly want to become. You know, and I found my purpose. You know, I want to be the undisputed champion of the world. You know, no one has ever done that in my division, and no one has ever done that in where I come from, in the Philippines. So again, the purpose is what drives me, and I'm excited every day. That's the thing is, as you know, I'm always been a positive guy. You know, I'm always a happy person, and I'm always talking about positivity because it's a choice.
You are. You do. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it becomes a choice of how you're going to feel, because that's the control that you have within yourself. Now, you know, don't get me wrong. There's days that I should feel horrible, but I try not to, you know. Again, that's something that I because I have a day that I have to meet, you know, like each day I want to be positive, but at the same time, I want to go all out in training. I want to give everything I got in training, knowing that I did what I could do today and I don't have to look back.
When you started out just on fire, and it came from nowhere. And I remember, I would probably say the Darchinian fight was really the fight that put you on the map. Would you say that was the first big surprise to the world that here comes Nonito Donaire?
Yes, that was a 2007 knockout of the year, upset of the year. And it was incredible. I just came out there, you know, I was they called the sacrificial lamb, you know, so, but he had another thing coming.
Well, and so you win that fight. And now all of a sudden you go to, I believe, as high as 2 on the world pound for pound stage. Now think about that. Wow. Of every fighter
that's so insane
in the world, you're ranked number 2 in the world. And maybe even I'm sure you got a couple number 1 votes in there too. And then you mentioned that there was some downfalls there, and there was a period of time where things were not as they once were because you started out on such a high note. Can you take me through those times? And because a lot of people in our business, a lot of people in business in general, those are the times they can't get out of. They can't get out of the struggle. They just, for whatever reason, they get stuck there and then things spiral out of control. You are the exact opposite story. You went back to being a world champion. What did those times teach you?
Well, let me start off how I came into that long road of becoming one of the best fighter. In 2007, I met my wife, and I was already a world champion. She asked me why I box, and I couldn't answer her. There was not a question. There was nothing in my head. I was like, I'm doing it for my dad. You know, I couldn't answer that question. And then when I came into the journey of answering that question, that's when I became the purpose of me was to be the best in boxing. And then through many years until 2012, that I accomplished, which was the fighter of the year.
Right.
You know, I was beating everybody. I had a lot of the belts. And when I achieved fight of the year, my purpose was gone. I already answered that question. And so from that point on until 2019, it was up and down. I would win, I would lose, I would win, I would lose, you know?
I mean, big fights, but ups and downs.
Right. But still the big fights with the best fighters out there. And then 2019 hit. I was in the tournament with the WBSS tournament where I lost very close decision to the monster Inoue. I think he's the number 3 pound per pound at this moment. And
wait, we got to wait. Hold on, Nonito, hold on a second. Let's not downplay what happened here, because that's where I look at the resurgence. And we actually were about to go to Japan for that fight, but I remember Rachel told me, we were out one night, and Rachel told me that there was a vision board, and that vision board was to win. It was the Muhammad Ali Championship, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you go in, you got knockout of the year in that tournament, I believe.
Yes.
And then you go to the finals. You have the monster, who is on many levels. I look at Inoue as kind of where you were 12, 15 years ago.
Yes.
I really do. Like, that's how and he's feared. He's amazing. He is one of the best in the world. And in comes Nonito. And that got fight of the year.
Yes.
You took him to a brink. I believe you broke his jaw. You fractured his eye. I forgot exactly what happened, but I looked at that fight as that's Nonito's resurgence, and that's the best lesson Inoue's ever had in the ring. But to me, that tournament is what redefined your career, in my opinion. Would you say the same?
I mean, I still have a lot in me, but at the moment it was, you know, I was able to fight one of the best in the division, and, you know, took him to deep water. And I realized a lot from that fight. And this is why the redemption is here. This is the road to redemption.
No doubt. But that's kind of what kickstarted it, that I can do this again and I can be undisputed if I really put my mind to it. Would you say?
100%. When I came in after that fight, I knew I was a better fighter, although I didn't get the decision. But there was just a lot of things that I felt I didn't do. You know, I came in here to fight. Now, after that fight, the last 2 fights, I came in to win. You know, that was a big difference. I came in to win because now my purpose is to become the undisputed champion of the world. That is the purpose. And this is why I'm coming back so much stronger, so much smarter, and trusting the ability that I have for 20 years of being a professional fighter.
Do you think some of that was confidence? Like, you got your swag back, you got your confidence back? Like, is that part of it?
I mean, I've always had the confidence. Even in that fight, I thought I was going to win the fight. You know, I've always had that confidence because I knew I know who I am, and I know what I'm capable of. But now I'm using everything that I have, that I've garnered in the 20 years of being a professional fighter, and just trusting that, you know, I can put a great game plan together. I can put an amazing game plan, and I know that with who has the best game plan will win the fight. But most of all, who has the best mindset and the strongest mindset will win the fight.